record on this computer since I forgot last time. Go live and go live. I only have to do it in 3 different places. Yeah, man, we'll get to that. We got a lot. We're going to hit go live here. And I think that's going to do it. We need to hire a staff, apparently.
Yes, man. God.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
There we go. All right. It is a special, or not so special, Thursday night edition
Thursday night edition
of the Evan and Aaron Show. Thank you all for joining us. For the purposes of tonight's show, I am the white guy, and Evan is the gentleman with the beard, glasses, and Marion University sweatshirt. Stick around.
With the extra melanin content in his skin. There you go.
Stick around. That joke will hopefully make more sense and be funnier in approximately a half hour. I'm Aaron. This is Evan. We do have a great show. I've got a lot of topics that I think are really, really going to be fun to peel back tonight. Real quick, at the top of the show, I do want to say this. Indianapolis lost a local legend hero this week, Ron Miner. Most people know him better as DJ Indiana Jones.
Oh, yes.
Staple of the local music scene. Badass DJ, good dude. Lots of love for what he did in the community. So he'll be missed. So shout out there. If you read our little intro, we've got some interesting topics tonight that I do think overlap pretty nicely.
Really good.
And for the first time, we had somebody specifically hit us up for a topic, and it does a great job of kind of setting, I think, the stage for things as a jumping off point for where we want to go tonight. And we'll see if we actually follow that path or we derail ourselves or whatever. But good friend of the pod and Chelsea fan, Io, hit us up last night, and he had a couple thoughts on his mind. And he left us a voice message, and I will. The sound quality wasn't great, so I'm not going to play it for you. And also, he'd be mad that he gets shown up by his daughter in the recording anyway. So the gist of it, though, was two things. He's a little annoyed with centrists, and I'm going to take that to mean Democrat establishment people being a bit dismissive of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party and sort of laying a little blame for losing some House seats at their feet and things of that nature. And then secondly, he's upset with the Democratic Party in general and specifically leadership for really failing to bang on about the fact that, the House has passed hundreds of bills meant to make the lives better for all people in this country, specifically to help with COVID, to do a ton of stuff. As an aside, I saw people like, when the House voted about decriminalizing marijuana the other day, people were like, oh, so I guess there's nothing better to do in the government than focus on stoners, huh? And I'm like, well, they've already passed like 400 bills, guys. The fact that Mitch McConnell won't bring them to the table isn't their fault. So this was just next on the list. But yeah, there is something to be said for the fact that Mitch McConnell is the biggest impediment to governance right now. And I mean, I'm aware of it, but I'm also a bit of as much of a wonk as you can be and still not be inside politics. I mean, I try to read as much as I can. So, I'm aware of it, but yeah, I think that would be a message they should have been consistently banging on about. And I think especially in the runoff, if they fail to get those 2 Georgia seats and flip the Senate, then I think that's something they've got to make front and center. So that's a good point. Definitely, Io.
Yeah.
To your main point, though, as far as the centrists and the progressives, I think there's always been that rift. And centrists are who they are because they buy into the statistics that say, the vast majority of this country is just right of center. And, most people self-identify as Christian. Most people have sort of moderate social beliefs and some conservative fiscal beliefs. And I think that jives. I get that. I think the main failure of the centrists right now is to recognize that they're no longer in the center. They want to be in the center, and I personally kind
Mm,
of identify as a
mm,
centrist, but I recognize that the Overton window has been dragged so far to the right that things
mm.
that were not normal topics of discussion are now. So suddenly things like giving health care to everybody or making sure people have a living wage is considered radical. And that's only considered radical in a world where you give tax breaks to people who make billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of a PR failure on behalf of the centrists. But yeah, I mean, you have to not acknowledge that AOC is both a positive yet divisive figure and her squad. But they're also representing millions of people that want that type of change. So centrists need to reach out to them. So I forwarded you his message.
Yeah.
What's your take on this one?
I think once again, Aaron, I think we align up just about perfectly, man. My question is this: is that, when did divisiveness become a bad thing, especially in politics? I want somebody that's divisive because usually divisiveness in politics makes people make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows me to see who people are clearly. So Io was right on, man. There he is. He's like, "What's up?" And glad you could
Right
join
on.
us, brother. We're just talking about you. Um, for me, when I heard his response just it sounded like a lot of people who I know who definitely lean further left, even further than what I do. We're talking about people who are solid Bernie supporters and people who are just who are just as excited as everybody else to see this moron out of the White House. But are left kind of with this. I think there's still a sting from 2016. I think there's still something there from um, um, the Democratic race where we were nominating, the nomination. I think there's still a sting there, and I'm thinking that most truly progressives want to see some type of representation either in a cabinet position or an appointment or
Mm-hmm.
something like that to make sure that this isn't just going to be same old, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I will say this though. I will say this though, that it's been 4 years of bullshit. I still want to kind of celebrate that. I mean, I'm not ready to start, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying IO that you're picking apart. IO, you said the same thing. Like I said, that probably so many people I know would say right now. I'm just saying, let's. I'm not saying rest on our laurels, but what I'm saying is like let's just let this settle down first
Mm-hmm.
and see how it shakes out because I think I hope that we would be pleasantly surprised. Aaron, I think you would agree that okay, you see yourself kind of as a centrist. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, but I I think some of my ideals may put me a little bit left of you, but not
Mm-hmm.
much. I think we're right there. Um, that's just what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like, you know what, let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens because now we actually get to see a
Mm-hmm.
functioning government do its thing. Now, the second piece, um, and I'm sorry, I've been pre-gaming a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's what
Remind me.
it's a drinking dope politics problem, man.
It's a drink. If we were at the bar, dude, it'd be like, no, what did you say, man? Tell me. No, I got some good stuff, but tell me what that is.
Like
Give me the
Dianne
prompt, man.
Feinstein, I'll let you repeat yourself.
I'm just saying. I I'm gonna turn it back over to you, man, because I'm gonna keep drinking. Okay.
You do it. Um, you know, the I want to see some of the progressives get appointed to good position. I would love to see Elizabeth Warren be in a position to, be consumer protection or, you know, some sort of fiscal role.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I think that makes a lot of sense. But there's also an argument of you want to, not that I think a Republican could take her seat should she vacate and take a cabinet position. That seems unlikely, but you got to have a conversation with her and ask her what she wants.
Yeah.
To
And do you want to tempt fate?
right,
Eh,
and I think this, like I said, this is going to be a good way to jump off for a lot of different discussion. But
mhm,
ideologically, I get that people were all in on Bernie 4 years ago.
mhm,
Okay, and
mhm.
I like Bernie. I've got some criticisms, but
Sure,
had
absolutely.
had Bernie been put forth as the nominee, I would have voted for him. If he'd been put forth as the nominee this time, I'd have voted for him. And I think he'd be a decent president. I don't have any issue with that. My issue, and this I think was going to be a recurring theme in a variety of ways tonight, is that there was sort of an ideological purity test that came with that.
Mm,
And once Bernie got shut out, um, and I'm going to use a derogatory term here. The Bernie Bros kind of turned into Trumpers in the sense of, well, if it's not Bernie, it's nobody. Fuck you. And I don't know how much that ultimately impacted Hillary. I really don't.
mm,
And there are arguments to be made that obviously the Democratic establishment preferred Hillary over Bernie, but Bernie Bros need to be honest with themselves and say, here's a guy who refused to identify as a Democrat until it was going to benefit him on a national level.
mm.
He sometimes votes with the Democrats, sometimes doesn't, and I admire that independence. But you can't then be shocked when there's a certain segment of Democrats who are like, I don't know, man. I'm just not quite sure
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I, I why should we throw everything behind you right now, especially when we have probably one of the, like, resume wise, the most qualified candidate for presidency ever. I
Mm.
had issues with Hillary on a variety of levels, but just on a resume level,
Oh man. I,
tell me anyone else
yeah.
who's ever been more qualified to be president,
No.
and I'll raise my hand. So I think there was that bit of a backlash, and I think that's something that's the left needs to recognize. And there,
Hmm.
I'm not saying there needs to be ideological purity in the other way, march in lockstep to whatever the Democratic platform is. But Joe Biden is now the leader of the Democratic Party for the next 4 years. And
Hmm.
his assistant, if you will, his VP, is more progressive than him.
Hmm.
And he got votes because of her. It is imperative that they figure out a way to marry those ideas, those ideologies together,
Hmm.
and recognize that, at least as far as Democrats are concerned, they're trending leftward, but I don't see a push for radicalism
Hmm.
in the same way that we've seen from the right. Would we have seen that had Bernie gotten elected, or an Elizabeth Warren? I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe there would be a push for a lot more democratic socialist type policies, but that's not the case. And
Right.
we are where we are right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, but there's a couple of factors that you can't forget, though. Number one, Democrats eat their own, and
Mm-hmm.
we do that more. I mean, we do that routinely, and so that brings me to my second point: is what is it? What is it that we are looking for? What is it that we as Democrats, we who are registered Democrats, what are we looking for? Because the fact is that we can continue to look for whatever it is. Just for let's say we're looking for another Camelot, we're looking for another Kennedy, we're looking for that type of person. Guess what? We're not going to find another Kennedy. We're not going to find another Obama. What's going to happen is that we're going to have to look and see what type of leader
Mm-hmm.
and leadership we want. Now, if we want progressive leadership, if we want super liberal progressive leadership, we have to be comfortable with the fact that we probably will never get that because we're talking to a very small segment of our population.
Mm-hmm.
And until that sinks in, we can rant and rave and bitch and moan all we want to. But the fact is that, and we've said this before on this podcast, Aaron, you cannot swiftly turn the Titanic. You've got to
No.
do it bit by bit by
Mm-hmm.
bit. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think that's centrism in a nutshell. And I understand that why that frustrates certain people. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
if I were a member of any minority group, women, black, people of color, LGBTQ, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I don't want incremental change. I want my rights now. But I don't think
Mm-hmm.
that's necessarily what we're talking about. When we're talking about, policy, right? Um, Massive sweeping shifts are not good for the country. Okay. And I don't care what they are. I could support the end goal of a particular policy and still recognize that trying to implement it all at once would be too much of a shock to the system, throwing cold water on things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do want to. I see we're getting some engagement. I like it. I'm
Oh,
going to
oh,
assume
yeah.
John said
Yes.
maybe George Bush Senior one of the most qualified. I would probably agree
Oh, okay, okay.
certainly agree
I'll
with that. Um,
yeah.
Troy has jumped in, like it. Hillary's shit just like Biden, and hopefully he resigns after a month.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna, hey, your opinion. I'm gonna push back a little bit, but I'm also gonna ask the question because I know that Troy and I've played soccer together, and we've been friends
Mm-hmm.
for over 10 years now. And Troy was a straight up Republican when I met him, and he may still be a conservative. I would imagine he is, but he's also smart enough to recognize what a danger, Trump has been. But I guess I would ask for clarification why necessarily Hillary and Biden are shit. They've spent their lives serving this country. They have the relevant experience to hold the job. Disliking
Mm-hmm.
them is different
Mm-hmm.
than them not being qualified. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was not
Mm-hmm.
qualified.
No.
Okay. Ted
No.
Cruz is qualified. I don't like the man. I don't like his policy, but he's qualified. Jeb Bush qualified. There's a huge difference, and if you've ever had to run an interview with somebody, you can tell right away the people who are
Yeah.
prepared, the people
Yeah.
who've got the background, and these people are prepared. Joe Biden has spent his life in preparation for this moment. Is it maybe too late? Was 2016 or 2012 maybe a better time for him? Perhaps, but this is where we are. We didn't get here by accident. We got here by choice, and
Yeah.
and by the largest choice in history, 80 million people. So how much of that is we just want to get rid of Trump, and how much of that is Joe Biden's the best man for the job? Not even gonna hazard a guess. But we're talking about trying to move forward with things, and the original question was, how do centrists and progressives find common ground? Well, they found common ground. Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris as his running mate and thinks very highly of her and
Mm-hmm.
holds public meetings with her. And I think he recognizes that while it might not be his first choice for things, he's going to need the help of the progressive wing of the party in order to get shit passed.
I think Joe's smart enough to realize that he is not a lot of people's first choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's smart enough to realize that. I know that he's smart enough to realize that.
I do.
Which quite frankly, and Troy, brother, I get it. I really do. But and I'm with Aaron. I just would like to. I'd love to have a beer with you so you could just sit here and clarify it, man. Because the thing is that I think that he chose Kamala because, well, first of all, Kamala was my second choice behind Stacey Abrams. So that tells you exactly where I stand. A little bit there, but I'm just saying. But I think that the man understands that he is not the ideal candidate, because I'm telling you, and you guys know this, there is no ideal candidate. There isn't. Even with Obama, as cool, collected, smooth, diplomatic, presidential as he was, there were things during his administration that I could look at and go, hmm. And there's things like that with every administration. And so I think the take home for this is that, yeah, there's people out there, there's division out there that's kind of like, you know what? I, this isn't my guy. This isn't the guy. Okay, yes, but he's our guy. I mean, he's our guy now. If you're left of center, he's your guy. I don't
Mhm.
care if you're all the way down this wherever you were trying to elect me. Okay, Joe Biden is our guy, and and he has to be our guy. I mean,
Mhm.
because here's what happened in 2016. Whether you were the alt right or you were a Romney Republican, Donald Trump was your guy.
Mhm.
And by God, the Republicans got behind him and they gave him the office. They got him the White House. Now, part of that is because, okay, you could say the Democrats didn't show up and show out in 2016, but the Republicans got their ass in line.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what we need to do as Democrats. I'm not saying that we need to blindly follow somebody,
Right.
but damn it,
Uh,
we've got to get together, man.
and
We got to
and
get together.
my my master plan is working. This is the perfect moment to segue to the
I see
next thing, and
where you're going.
that is, yes, one of the main strengths of Republicans throughout history, um, and very specifically in the last 4 years, is their willingness to just say, fuck it. It does not matter whoever is in charge as long as there's an R by their name. We're going along with it. Now, that would be a good thing if, like Obama, there was, a cult of personality that said, look, I think what this man is doing is just really phenomenal. He's leading the country in the correct way, and we're going to support it come hell or high water. We want this healthcare plan. We want this. We want that. That's not what we've seen in this cult of personality to Trump. It is fealty to an individual, almost like a monarchy, because you fear him. You fear the backlash that comes from it, right? And that's I don't want that, okay? But Joe Biden's not the kind of president who, if you said, "Hey, man, I'm not sure. Here's some more information," dude wants that information. Dude wants to hear about it. He wants the opposition opinion. He wants to know that,
Mm-hmm.
so he's
Mm-hmm.
fully informed to make a decision, which is what any smart leader should do. But that's not what we've had. We've had a businessman whose entire business model is intimidation and side deals and shit like that. So he
Mm-hmm.
just wants you to swear loyalty. And if you aren't loyal to him, then get the fuck out. I don't want that in the Democratic Party. I want, like, who's the guy you appointed, the general that he's appointing to
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe a defense position. And he said, look, I'm going to give him the same advice I always have. And it's not always going to be what he wants to hear, but it's what he needs to hear. That's where we are right now. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the Democrats need to find that balance. They need to
And
find the balance of, we support this guy, but we also
yes.
can push back when necessary without fear of retribution. That's the failure that we've been
Yeah.
facing lately.
Please don't take me and my words as what I'm saying, brother. Like I'm talking about blind allegiance. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm
No, I don't
saying
believe it.
it's almost like your little brother. Okay, like if you got a little brother, you can beat shit out of him. You can hold him to the fire. You can hold him accountable, but let someone else step to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like boondock saints up in here. That's exactly the way I think the Democratic Party should be. Yes, we should be kicking his ass if he doesn't do the things that he says that he was going to do in
Mm-hmm.
order to help people. But when push comes to shove, if someone with the R behind their name starts going, well, see, he's the blah blah, and say, well, hold up, motherfucker. This is what he's done so far that
Mm-hmm.
outweighs anything that you guys have done. So just sit down and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and it's
And I use the Boondock Saints reference.
love me some Boondock Saints.
There you go.
It Democrats strive in general. This is a broad brush statement, but Democrats strive to have the information to make the best decision based on the information presented. I believe that. Mainly that's how I go about things, and I see that in Barack Obama. I see that in Joe Biden. I saw that in Bill Clinton. I see that in the people that I look up to. I don't see that I Donald Trump notoriously doesn't want to be informed. He doesn't want his morning intelligence briefing. He doesn't want any contradictive ideas. He has an opinion, and that's just what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why we're here. It's why we're where we are in this very, very moment. It's why we see the House Republicans doing what they're doing now, trying to support this
Did you
ridiculous
say
lawsuit.
107?
106, yeah.
106
Mm-hmm.
are backing this Texas lawsuit.
And I don't for a second believe any of them, maybe a few, but I don't believe they're doing it because they think it's the correct thing to do. I think it's a power grab. I want to hold on to this position because without Donald Trump's love, without him embracing them, they're unprotected. He's unprotected. They're unprotected. How this isn't seen as a blatant act of treason, I don't know. I've been on Twitter reading too much about how the Democrats, should respond to this and what they can do, which there's a lot they could do, but they won't. Which that right there is a statement about Democrats in general. Would the progressives really be going hard? Do Ilhan Omar and AOC and Presley and all these people, do they really want to spend the next 4 years in lawsuits? I'm not saying don't go after Trump or people who've done wrong, but I'll use this phrase a lot. Pick your battles. Pick the ones that are important to win. Because to go after 106 guys is retribution. It's vengeance. It's not necessarily justice.
Man, I have to let that sit and ponder. I gotta let that sit.
And that's fine. Hey,
for a little bit.
we're here to talk these through. This is all about it. And you know what? We could come back with something, and I'll probably revamp
I get
that.
it. No. I understand. I understand what you're saying. I think on a personal level, just on a personal level, personal selfish ass level. Yeah. You're right. You got to pick your battles. But is this one that we should pick?
Maybe
to hold 100. I mean, to hold these guys and women accountable. I mean, first of all, you got to think of the scale of that. Like you said, I mean,
what are the implications?
What are the implications? Okay, so best case Disneyland scenario. Every single one of them, are ousted. But what are they going to be ousted for?
Right.
Like, there's still people who are Republican in their district, and they're probably going to vote for a Republican, and it's going to just...
And it'll probably be a worse person. It will probably be a worse person.
Exactly. And John said it. Is that the hill you want to die on today? And I want to emphasize that word today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not a dirty bomb. Maybe it's a sniper shot. One here, one there, one here, one there. And so personally, the gratification would just be like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a sugar high.
Yeah, you're right. It wears off and it will wear off. And then we'll be like, now we have to fill those seats.
Now what? Yeah.
We have to go into, deep, dark, red West Virginia and fill this seat in Charleston, that you're not going to. You're just not going to. Yeah. Wheeling, West Virginia. You think you're going to get a Republican in Wheeling? You think you're going to get a Republican in Gallia County, Ohio? Lawrence County? No. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So maybe some leverage somewhere? I don't know. Maybe we should all just watch Billions and figure it out,
I couldn't get past the first episode.
Oh, that's disappointing.
The problem is I follow Preet Bharara on Twitter. so now thinking Paul Giamatti as Preet Bharara just messes with me, and I don't want to know that much about Preet Bharara's sex life. I don't.
Well,
I'm looking at this kind of short, balding Indian dude on Twitter, and Paul Giamatti lets me know that he wants candle wax on his dick. I don't know. But
that's a good halftime segue. Don't you think?
I'm a Damian Lewis fan. Oh, dude, this is working out better than I expected because this is
The Wire. Oh, he just said The Wire, dude. He just said The Wire. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Okay, so
Oh, I'm gonna be
I will
that
give a
guy.
shout out.
I'm gonna be
I'm
that
a,
guy.
no, no,
I've
don't.
never
Let me
watched
do
The
this.
Wire.
Okay, so I got to be honest with you. I got to be honest. I have not made it past season one, but I will give a shout out to my significant other and the one person on her list, good old Idris Elba, is
Oh, he's baller, man.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing in this,
I
man.
think I've seen the first one
Amazing,
or two
bro.
episodes, and I didn't
Amazing.
realize how many fucking people are in it. Like, I was like, oh, holy shit, I know everybody in this. This is crazy.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. I Io, are you saying what to me or Aaron? I swear,
Yeah,
I
it's to
swear,
me. It's to
I'm
me.
trying to get through. Okay.
He can't believe I haven't seen The Wire. That's fair. I look, like I
Okay.
said, I've watched the first couple of episodes and it was good. I just didn't stick with it. Look, it's
Mhm.
gonna be a long, cold ass
Go back.
winter. I'll try to catch up.
Yes. There you go. There you go. Go back because that's my thing I got on, man. I plan on binging that after classes are over. That's my thing, man. And like I said, that lady's been after me to watch it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. So and I'm loving it so far. It's good, man. It's good. Um, halftime.
Half time.
Halftime. I'm just going to be real quick about this. I have a person, my guy, get on that. I got a person that just was on my mind today. Friends of ours, friends of the pod, and actually friends in real life too. We've spent plenty of Thursday nights actually um, hanging out with this person. So I'm going to dedicate this to Sarah. Sarah, you know who you are. Um, give you that good old shot of man. I actually followed your lead and got fireball. But um, Sarah, we love you here on the
We
cast. We
love
love you
you.
here on the pod. Take care of yourself.
Yep.
Aaron, you got anybody you're thinking of, man?
I'm thinking about Sarah. Keep your head up, girl. We love you, and we support you. You'll get through this. All is well. All will be well. And shout out
Slancha.
to everybody tuning in tonight. This is fun.
Yep.
Slancha. All right. This honestly, this couldn't be going any better because we now segue again into a discussion about ideological purity and specifically what that means in our culture wars and the world of wokeness. Um, so I'm gonna this and a couple other things tonight. I'm gonna have to give a little info for everybody because it's not always on the radar. And again, I spend my day online and reading all this shit. But Megan Rapinoe, outspoken female athlete, wonderful soccer player for the U.S. Women's National Team. She's an out gay lesbian in women's soccer. She's outspoken on the Black Lives Matter issue. She was the first athlete outside the NFL, I believe, to kneel in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. She's an ally, and she has spoken out previously specifically about Sports Illustrated's sort of failure to fully recognize the Black Lives Matter movement, women's activism, gay activism, black activism, a lot of things, and it's a worthy criticism. Sports Illustrated is a white magazine. So to get to the details, Megan Rapinoe was asked to write the article for the Female Sports Person of the Year. Sports Illustrated has taken to nominating multiple people now for a variety of reasons, and the criteria is more than just being good on the court or on the field, whatever the sport is, but also doing positive things in the world. And real quick, I'll give you the list of people. So Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, Super Bowl champion, sat out the 2020 season to serve as an orderly during the COVID-19 pandemic. As a Canadian football player, I do not know this person, but it sounds worthy. LeBron James,
Wow.
basketball NBA Finals MVP, worked in voter suppression. He opened up multiple polling sites in LA. He's been very outspoken on the Black Lives Matter movement. He's the first 3-time winner of this award. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP, pushed the NFL to recognize the Black Lives Matter movement. He's been very outspoken. Naomi Osaka, Asian American tennis player, U.S. Open champion, and advocate for social justice. If you saw anything during the U.S. Open, every day she spoke her mind. She wore the Kobe jersey. She wore Black Lives Matter. She wore a lot. I think she wore an I Can't Breathe. I mean, every day she took the court. She was sort of silently but very loudly expressing what she had to say. And then Breonna Stewart, women's basketball player, WNBA Finals MVP. Her team won the championship, and she was an outspoken activist against racism and for women's equality. Real quick, Dr. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is a Canadian gridiron football guard for the Kansas City Chiefs of the NFL. Okay, so this is interesting. I did not know this going in. I made an assumption I should not have. LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes, and Naomi Osaka are people of color. Laurent Duvernay-Tardif is French-Canadian. He's white. Breonna Stewart, she's white. So after all that intro, Megan Rapinoe was asked to write the article naming and touting the women's sports person of the year, female sports person of the year, because obviously there are multiple. She did a great job. She outlined exactly what Breonna Stewart had done. By the way, she was out the entire previous season with a blown Achilles. She recovered and became the WNBA Finals MVP. That alone.
I was going to say, was she the regular season or Finals MVP?
She was Finals MVP, WNBA Finals MVP.
Either way, but man, she's a GOAT, man.
She's solid. If you aren't familiar with her because you don't follow women's basketball, and I got to be honest, I don't follow it that closely. I watch a couple games here and there, but I learned by osmosis too. So this shit just kind of gets into my veins. She's awesome. She's amazing. So Rapinoe writes this article, and there's backlash. And I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say it's woke culture backlash. I'm going to say it's the blind spot in woke culture. And here are, and I'm not going to say it's been horrible. It's not like she's being browbeaten, but I'm going to read a couple responses that I think are kind of interesting, right? Yeah. So here's Megan Rapinoe saying that, we need to recognize more of this. And then she turns around and she writes a glowing article about Breonna Stewart being a white woman in a predominantly black sport at this point. Sort of an accusation of whitewashing, if you will. So one poster said, I was pretty raw over this yesterday. Never surprised, but still raw. You're right. The work is constant, and so is accountability. I hope it's a teaching moment, and she pauses and defers in these moments going forward. We shall see. Interesting take. I agree with some, not all of that.
Okay.
The whole situation is Sports Illustrated's fault. It's a little sad that Pino and Breonna Stewart are involved. That's a faux pas. That proves that they still have a lot to learn. Some people are now questioning their allyship and motives. Choose your battles. Okay? One person, and that's in response to this comment. Sports Illustrated messed up by not solely acknowledging the WNBA as the sports activist of the year, period. It should have been our whole league, including Breonna Stewart, to win this award. The W led this entire sports movement, disgusted at the constant erasure of black women, queer, and trans folks. That's the one I'm going to take specific
I would jump
issue
on that one with you.
This.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's a ton to unpack in this one. If you want the WNBA recognized as the sole sports activist of the year, that's a valid opinion.
Right. Yeah.
It should have been our whole league to win this award. That's fine. You can believe that. The W led this entire sports movement. Not true. Not true. The first to kneel was Colin Kaepernick, NFL. The NBA and LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and the whole Banana Boat crew were the most outspoken years ago.
Yep, Russell Westbrook. Don't forget him.
And Russell Westbrook. And for the record, the NWSL was the first league to return this year. And they
Mm.
spent the entire time both recognizing Black Lives Matter, trans, and LGBTQ issues. So I don't like the way this person's gone with this, and I don't like it being used as a cudgel to
Yeah,
beat down somebody like Megan Rapinoe. Do I like Megan Rapinoe and have a soft spot for her? Yes, I do. I absolutely do.
absolutely.
Can any ally learn more? Yes, they can. But I'm
Yep.
going to go back to the pick your battles. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Brianna Stewart is demonstrably one of the best players in the league, and her team won, which in any award being given by Sports Illustrated is going to be point number one.
Yeah.
Were they good at their sport? Yeah,
Yes.
she's fucking amazing.
Yep.
Now you get into this activism and stuff. Did Brianna Stewart speak out? Most definitely. She was a leading voice.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, now, and I'm prepared to take pushback on this very next statement. And I expect you to be first. And I know we've got followers who are woke as
Okay.
fuck, and I expect them to come back too.
Did you just use that word?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
I know.
did. And we'll unpack it in a second.
Yeah, we will.
But does
Yeah.
that mean that no matter who gets chosen for this award, if they aren't white, they're not worthy of it? I don't know Laurent, what's his face? Let me go back. Sorry, that was rude. That was rude. I don't know Laurent Duvernay Tardif. Don't know this person. But
Okay.
I haven't heard anybody complaining about this guy. So why is Brianna Stewart singled out? Why is Megan Rapinoe singled out in these situations? Do you think Megan Rapinoe doesn't know what she's doing? Do you think she hasn't given this thought? And I've seen a lot of dismissive comments. Now, obviously, this isn't front page news, so it's not nearly as big of a deal. But,
Sure.
you know, I traffic in this. And you do too. So this
Among
is
other things.
this
No,
is
I'm just
this
kidding.
is the conversation. It is worth okay, this one. This one is tone deaf as fuck as far as I'm concerned. It is worth approximately 6 million yikes that Megan Rapinoe is involved with Sports Illustrated's complete erasure of an entire league of black women athletes who started and led multiple movements this year. Evan, I am completely prepared to take on new information and adjust my opinion here, but is this not a little bit of woke culture cannibalizing its own for the sake of a bit of, and I hate this phrase, virtue signaling? Is
I,
this now a
mm,
competition?
yeah. I mean, short answer, yes. And Io brings up a good question, legit question. He says, "Is this white people complaining about this?" I mean, once again, we could.
Bit of
I
both.
mean, we
Bit of
we
both.
really
Fair
don't know.
question.
Probably
Fair
probably
question.
it's a fair question. I
Looking
don't
looking
know.
at
I don't
Twitter
have it in front of.
looking at Twitter avatars, it's a bit of both. To
Okay,
full disclosure, the
sure.
person who said choose your battles, black person.
Okay,
A
okay,
lot of the people going hard, white people.
okay. But here's the thing. I will say this is that when you look at the term woke, first of all, you got to understand where it comes from. You got to understand where it comes from. Um, it comes from people that look like me walking past other people that look like me and say, "Hey, bro, stay woke, man, because police are around the corner." That's exactly where that term comes from. So we're dealing, first of all, we're dealing with a little bit of appropriation here.
Yeah.
Um,
White people
and
love some
Aaron,
appropriation.
your term, yeah, it is flat out. Your term, competition, is exactly where I'm going with this. Is because it seems like the term woke is almost taken on an essence of like a Boy Scout badge that you get when you earn something. Like when you're able to say, you know what, the 13th Amendment says that slavery's abolished unless you're unless you are a criminal. Okay, well, boom, you get your woke badge. That's really good. It's almost like it's a qualifying thing. It's become that. And for me, I think the notion of somebody being woke, and we've said it on this show, and the fact is that I'm going to try and temper myself from saying that because it has taken on this air of almost superiority amongst people. When did just simply being a good person not be enough? When did simply being a good person that sits there and says, like, you know what, look, I know that I suck. I know that I don't know everything. And that's why I'm coming to you because, quite frankly, I want to learn. I'm going to go do my own research. I'm going to go do my own stuff. But if I have questions, can I come to you? There was an interview in 2017. And I just talked about this in one of my classes. There was a young lady who was on CNN and she was giving a talk about racism. And this guy, live TV, calls in and says, "Hi, my name's John. I'm from Maryland, and I'm prejudiced. I don't want to be. Can you help me?" That young lady spent the next 15 minutes on air talking to this guy, formed a relationship with him, and to today is still talking to him. Now, that guy is not woke. He's a good guy who is just confused. He's a good man. And I think when we start to put labels and qualifiers on things, it becomes so pop culture-ish. Okay. It's almost like to me now that I've looked at it and things like that, it's almost like it's Dr. Evil on Austin Powers. Oh, I'm hip. It's like, why the hell do we need that? And so that's my treatise on the word. The culture itself has become what we talked about at the very beginning that the Democratic Party does. It eats its own. If you're not woke, then there's no space for you here. There's no space for you here. And the fact is that people are like, wait, I have actually done things. Megan Rapinoe has. I mean, how can you? How? I mean, yes, everyone messes up. Everyone makes a mistake. Everyone may do something that's like, you know what? I probably should have thought about that again. But this, when you're talking about an ally who is being a solid ally, who is like, you know what? Look, and what kills me is that when we look at this and when we dig into this case a little more, God, we're not prosecutors, but when we dig into this a little more, it's it's sad because we're once again we're attacking women. So even in our wokeness, we're not that woke. I mean, hold up, time out, time out, time out. It's that time in the show where your microphone went down, brother. Can you pump the volume up? Okay. Um, so, but what I'm saying is this: is that when we try to qualify ourselves as woke, when we use that terminology, the terminology then begins to become old. You and I talked about this yesterday, and we used the words love. You know, I love spaghetti, but I also love my daughter. It's like, wait, that doesn't make sense. When does just becoming a person who is like, you know what, I know what I believe isn't necessarily right. I want to seek out help to try and figure that out. When does that become woke? I'm like, that's like, I don't know. To me, it feels wrong now. It was okay, but it feels 2000 late now. It just does. Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. If you can do that, that'd be great. Yeah, I can hear you. It's real soft, but keep talking. It'll get better. It'll get better. Mm. Oh, there you go. Wow. Wow.
I got a little excited after the second one that I buried, and I announced to everyone in the field, "Don't fuck with me." When it comes to free kicks, don't fuck with me.
So you peed on your territory,
I
man. You
did.
just peed on your territory. That's what we
Dude,
do.
I should have ran over to the flag and done the Nigerian fucking dance that they did in
There you
1994.
are. You
Man,
came
just
back.
fucking
You
boom,
came
boom,
back, brother.
boom, boom, boom,
I
boom.
hear you.
Hey, look, let me say this. I have always, look, I've never strived consciously to be woke.
Mhm.
I believe in a certain way of pursuing the things I pursue, and it turns out that that's wokeness, and it's not, because, like you said, wokeness is, hey man, watch your back, be aware. And to be fair, I've been to a lot of fish shows, so that applies. But the punishment is still a bit different. Damn right.
Yeah, a little bit.
And
Oh,
but that is not. That's not the real definition of it. I've never strived to be woke. I just try to be who I am. At the end of the day, I want to be invited to the picnic, and I will bring the brown liquor and the strong green. And you can count on me
oh,
for that. Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to be stupid enough to show up with fucking potato salad. Give me a break.
Don't do that, man.
Nope,
Don't do that. And
nope.
if you put raisins in that shit, man,
Dude,
don't
raisins don't
don't
belong in
don't do that.
shit. That is
Thank
not
you.
cool. That is
Thank you.
not cool.
Thank you.
So
Lead the mac and cheese to me. I got you. I got you,
damn
bro. I
Skippy.
got you.
Damn
I got you.
Skippy.
Yeah.
No, I,
Yeah.
I think, I think we've given this. The one thing I'll say is, for the, I read these responses, and my thought is, how come nobody's mentioned Maya Moore? If
Mm,
we're gonna have a woke competition, then how come nobody mentioned Maya Moore? This woman decided to take the entire season off. She may be the best
sorry.
player in the league. She decided to take the season off because she thought a man on death row didn't deserve to die, and she worked
Yeah.
so hard for it
Yep.
that apparently they're going to get married, which always raises an eyebrow to me. But that is what it is. But I mean, if you're going to talk about activism and what a great athlete does, then talk about look. We elevated Pat Tillman to godlike status. Why isn't Maya Moore the same thing? She gave up the
Yeah.
sport in
Yep.
pursuit of what she thought was right. There's your go-to. There's your
Mm-hmm.
go-to.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. You're right. There are so many examples out there, man. And I think what it is that think about, okay, so think about it in terms of
you don't mean
like the
if you'd have
department
capitalized death row, I thought you would have meant like Dr.
for
Dre.
records, baby. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Uh yeah, I won't desecrate you like that, Dre, just in case you ever come across this podcast. But anyway, you know, think about it in terms of like the when I was working with the Department of Child Services at one point, we always used to say that it swings in a pendulum, right? Like sometimes things are really good, we're not worried about things, but as soon as something happens to a kid, boom, all these restrictions, and then all of a sudden we have to do this, and then it gets better, and things get back to normal, and then all of a sudden we start to get loose again, and then something happens to a kid, and then boom, like this. I think what's happening in America is that we've had all of this time. We've had these waves of awareness. I'm not even going to say it anymore. We've had these waves of awareness in America to where we're like, you know what? No, what's happening to Black people is wrong. What's happening to Black people is wrong. What's happening to Black people is wrong. And then finally we get to 2020. We have the internet. We've got, you get information like this. We're able to share video. We're able to see it. The whole Will Smith thing. It's like, hey, it's not that it's not, it's just happening now.
We're
It's
just
now that we
filming
can
it.
record it. Yeah, we're just filming it now. We get all that stuff, and then boom, we hit critical mass. And so now we get critical mass where there are allies who are white, and they're like, you know what, look, this is bullshit. We've been talking about this thing for so long. And finally, people of color are like, yes, we have. And so now all of us get together, and now it's this thing like, oh, we got to be woke all the time. And it's like, no, let's bring it to the middle, and let's realize that being woke is just simply being a good fucking human being.
Well, and I'm not sure the most sensitive way to state this, so I'm just gonna say it.
Hi, welcome to the Evan and Aaron show.
Yeah,
Just want to just want to let you know.
and that is no progressive movement. And I don't like that this is the case, but it's a reality. No progressive movement can maintain forward momentum without outspoken white allyship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And
Because of their dominant culture.
I don't
It's
love that
dominant
that's the
culture.
case, but if it weren't necessary, there wouldn't be a civil rights movement.
Mm. We tried that before. We tried that before, and that's
And
where you get the Mulford Act.
yes,
That's where you get stuff like that. It's like, oh well, the Black Panthers showed up at the California State House with guns, and they were peaceful. But let's make sure
yeah,
that they
right.
stay peaceful by taking their guns away.
And if that's where the criticism was for Megan Rapinoe, I would understand it, I suppose, a little bit more.
Hmm.
But if you, of course, the athletes of color in the WNBA were going to speak out, and they deserve recognition. And if that's the point of some of the criticism, fair. That's fair, absolutely fair. But they didn't win NBA Finals MVP or WNBA Finals MVP. Okay,
It's the
it's
ESPN
it's a sport.
awards.
It's a sports award. Okay,
No, I'm with you.
and
I'm with you.
there are legitimate criticisms. There are ways to pull Megan Rapinoe or Breonna Stewart, who's the most innocent bystander in all of this, right? She didn't choose it, but there's a way to pull aside and say, hey, I think you could have done more. But some of the harsh criticism, that's where I love Megan Rapinoe, because she's very, very good at walking that fine line between listening to legitimate criticism and ignoring haters.
I will tell you this, and you are 100% right. If if Aaron Rodgers wins the MVP of the NFL this year, do you know who would be the first person to say that's a bad dude right there? And yes, he deserves that. Patrick
Yeah,
motherfucking Mahomes.
yeah.
He would be the first person to stand up and say, "No, he deserved that shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
That dude killing it this year."
Yep.
And I think that's where you're right. That's where the disconnect is that we're wanting so badly to be so woke that it's like, wait, hold up, man. Wait. This is ESPN we're talking about. And the fact is that ESPN is very much pro
Sports
Black
Illustrated.
Lives Matter. It's pro Black Lives Matter. They're pro LGBTQ. They're pro women. I mean, they are. I mean, I know you can shake your head and
Ask
say, no,
Jamel
I
Hill.
know, I get it. Jamel, she's right here with me. I get it. But I believe she was one of the major influences to get ESPN to go,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we shouldn't have done that. And the fact is that because they have constantly given a platform to people like my man, LeBron James. And if anybody out there is a LeBron James hater, like you don't want these hands, man, because my man is just so
He's on
he's
it.
cool.
He's on it.
Stephen A. Smith. Oh, John says Stephen A. Smith.
I'm not sure what that's in
Like,
context to.
well, I think what he's saying is Stephen A. Smith is. I mean, he's very outspoken.
He is.
My man will say whatever he wants to say. And so, at least I don't know, John. I don't want to speak for you, brother. But what I'm getting at is that it's a shame that we've taken this word and made it into, like you said so eloquently, a competition. It's not a competition. It's just be healthy, good people who are willing to learn about other thoughts, because that's what it should be. That's what it should be. So anyway,
All right.
we got to get to the Hey Aaron segment, man.
All right.
I'm excited about this because we're going old school.
I got one.
Oh, your microphone's going down again, brother.
Really? Again? This is not normal. That's not
I
normal.
know.
Let's see. I'll press all the buttons again. Am I back? Hello?
Is a bad. It's his name for him that he uses a lot. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like if you stay like that, man, it'll come back. It'll come back. I promise.
So, I think we got one or two more things to get to real quick. So,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
so this.
I might need more beer.
Do you need to get a beer? Get you a beer. Run off. I'll set the stage.
Can you do? You can set the stage. What is it? What is it? Real quick.
The racial issue in the Champions League this week.
Yes. Okay.
So, this is obviously a kind of intersection of sports and pop culture theme show this week, which is kind of a thing for us in general because that's part of the reason why Evan and I are friends and have this conversation in the first place. So, for those who aren't familiar, in the middle of the week there was a major soccer game played between PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, and Istanbul Başakşehir. The game was in Paris, and it was refereed by a Romanian referee crew. This is important to note for multiple reasons. One, the nationality of the crew, at least in the group stages, tends to be not either of the two teams playing. So you got a French team versus a Turkish team and a Romanian crew. For those asking, normally the conversations on the field are in English or Spanish. So you've got
I did not know that piece.
Yeah. So you've got a Romanian crew, and there were yeah. I think I need a mic cable. I think the mic is fine, John. I think I need a mic cable.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell Santa. But what happened was about 15 minutes into the game, there was a bit of a kerfuffle on the sideline. PSG are a bit notorious for falling down in a stiff breeze, and Turkish teams are known for, let's say, a certain type of physical intimidation in a soccer game, and those two things don't really go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a heavy foul, some heavy fouls perceived by the Turkish team and their coaches. And about 15 minutes in, the fourth official, a guy whose job is to kind of be on the sideline and mainly hold a board and tell the opposing coaches to be quiet and not stand where they're standing, he asked the center referee to pause the game and comes over and says, a particular assistant coach for Istanbul, said or did something that he needs to be censured for. While doing so, the center official, the head official, says, which one is it? And in response, the fourth official says, the black guy, the black one. Now, for context, there are 4 assistant coaches on the bench for Istanbul Başakşehir. They're all wearing the exact same thing because that's how team sports work. 3 of the coaches are white guys. Pierre Webo, the man who was carded, is black. So the referee, in response to which one is it, said it's the black guy. I hope some of you are finally getting the joke from the first 30 seconds of the show now. If you look at a picture
Full circle
of the 2 guys
circle
on screen right now, and you say which one's Aaron or which one's Evan, the most obvious identifier is the white guy or the black guy. This was taken to be a bit of a racial epithet, um, and madness ensued. The game was ultimately abandoned for the day, and they replayed it the next day, and PSG beat the living shit out of Istanbul. But it became an issue, and this referee is facing possibly a 10-game match ban. Probably wouldn't ever work again if this is followed through. Now, I don't speak Romanian, but apparently the word for black is negru. Makes kind of sense. So there was an awful lot of, why did you call us a negro? And, well, because that's the word for black in Romanian, and the officiating crew is Romanian, and that's what they were speaking to each other. Now, as sensitive as I can be to people of color, not wanting to be referred to solely by their skin color, it's hard for me to view this as an epithet versus a qualifier. I don't speak Romanian. I don't know everything that went on here. And I'm not going to play the video because the sound is terrible. You can't make out what's being said. People are shouting over each other. At one point, Demba Ba, who now plays for Istanbul, Başakşehir.
You know what? That is so impressive every single time you say it.
I keep doing it because Jamie Carragher couldn't pronounce it in studio. And it was hysterical every time Scouser shout out. But Demba Ba plays for Istanbul. He's a true journeyman of the game. He played for Chelsea for 1 year. I dig the guy. He apparently speaks Romanian, and he came over to confront the official, and he was like, "Look, you used the word Negro. You kept saying Negro. Like, would you say the white guy?" And look, I don't think the center official handled this very well. He's young. He wasn't expecting a situation like this. He wasn't in charge. He didn't take control. And it put the fourth official in a position to be like, I said he's the black guy because you've got 4 dudes over there, and he's the black guy. Like, could he have used a better term? I don't know, but it seems an obvious qualifier in this moment. But Demba Ba's response was, "You keep saying this. Would you say the white guy?" And I got to be honest, if there were 4 coaches on the sideline and 3 of them were Africans and 1 was white, I'd be like, the white guy. Now, is that on me to maybe do better? Maybe short dude with blonde hair. I don't know. I will defer on this point, but in context, I think this was nothing more than the easiest way to distinguish between the 4 guys yelling at him on the sideline. Evan, if you and I are standing together and somebody asks this question and they say, "I'm the white guy and you're the black guy," is that offensive?
It's a good question. No, I mean, honestly, no, it's not offensive. I think the big offense here is that the poor referee forgot what era he is in.
Yes, absolutely.
Cavani. Let's talk about Cavani again, shall we?
Exact same situation. I agree.
That's where I went back to, man. I was like, I get it. I totally. While I'm like, and this is so beautiful about this show, man. We're an hour and 12 minutes into it, but it's like the woke show. Like, you know what? It's like,
you said you weren't going to use that word anymore.
I know. It's the super hyper awareness show. There you go. This poor, and I'm not saying that he's not at fault, but this guy, by saying the black guy, it's the black guy over there. He was in a time warp. If that's 1960, 1970, 80, 90, maybe, he'd be okay. Because it's like, oh, yeah, that's the black guy over there. In today's climate, once again, be a decent fucking human being and just be like, you know what, and here's the thing too. We talked about this, and it's like, if we were standing in the tap and someone was like, "Hey, which one's Evan?" And one of our favorite bartenders said, "Oh, well, there's Evan and Aaron." "Oh, well, okay, Evan is right there. He's the black guy." Would I be offended at that? No, I wouldn't be offended at that. I think the big thing that he stepped into is that number one, you are on a public stage
with a mic.
and with a mic, and it's 2020.
Yeah.
And if anybody out there, here's the thing, and I'm going to throw this phrase out there because I just learned this phrase and it makes so much sense. If I were him, I would have said the same thing. Think about that phrase. If I were him, if literally if I were him, I would have said the same phrase because I would have been thinking the same thing he was. Oh my God, I got to get this game going. This guy's yelling. He's committed a foul. I got to do this, and I gotta qualify him as quick as possible. I got to identify him. That does not excuse you sitting at the Christmas table, and Grandpa stands up and says, "Hey, how are all your colored friends?" No, that's a time to call out. That's a time to be like, Grandpa, hold on. Wait a minute. We got to talk. Okay.
There's a way to do it. There's like, hey, Grandpa, I know what you meant, and I don't think you meant
Yeah.
offense, but could you call them black or African American or whatever they happen to be? That's the preferred term because you don't want to be referred to as old fucking fogey.
Exactly.
Right? You don't want that coming back on you.
No, you don't. And so my point is, and I know I don't have to qualify this with you, but anybody that watches, guys, listen. Obviously, I'm all about equality. Right? Exactly. I'm I'm all about equality. I love black people. Okay, I are one. This was a mistake. This was a mistake on his part. He could have stopped. He could have been like, okay, it's this gentleman right here. If he'd have been like,
he could have walked directly over and said, this person.
It's like, do you hear what this gentleman is saying to me right now? Okay, he could have done that. It was a matter of being lazy, and it was a matter of being.
It was expedience.
In 2020. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Expedience. It's the black guy. Whoa. Pump brakes. Do you not know what era you are in right now?
Yeah. And
you're not talking to George Wallace here. Okay. Sorry.
I feel like there's been a through line to all of these discussions about how it's simultaneously important for people to be aware, which I think is what wokeness has become. Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your context.
Yeah.
But also for the audience to do that as well. It's unfair if we only hold one side to it, right? You can't say, I expect you to behave this way. Based on things, and this, God, I love this. I feel like I almost could have scripted this. This is my term of intersection and intersectionality. This that you've as the audience, you also have to respect where every person is. Could they be further along? Yes, but in no way should this have been interpreted as a full racial epithet. In an inappropriate use of language, perhaps.
Once again, Cavani.
Expedience, perhaps, but to try to, and this is what I love Demba Ba. I love him. I love these guys who are journeymen of the sport who say, I love playing this game so much. Let me. I'm just going to throw this out there because I just love statistics.
Go ahead.
Demba Ba is a French-born but Senegalese national. Okay. Guy started his career in Rouen, went to Mouscron, and then played for 4 years for Hoffenheim in Germany. Went to West Ham for 1 season, Newcastle for 2 seasons, Chelsea 1 season, Besiktas 1 season, Shanghai Shenhua in China for 3 seasons, where he returned back on loan to go to Besiktas. Then he went to Göztepe, which I'm going to assume with the umlauts is either German or Turkish. Then went back for a season to Shanghai Shenhua, and now he's with Istanbul Başakşehir. This guy loves playing this game, that he's willing to go anywhere. He will learn the language. He will do it. So I have great admiration for this guy, not least of which him scoring the goal that effectively knocked Liverpool out of the championship in one particular season. Google it. I think in this moment, and I'm not going to tell a person they don't have a right to be offended if they hear something like that. That's my
Absolutely not.
that's
Absolutely
that's
not.
my job as an ally to be like, it is not for me to say what is and isn't offensive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if all you heard was the black guy, and again, this is coming from across the field and you're translating language and stuff like that. If that's all you heard, I understand a bit of a response. I do.
Sure.
I
Sure.
do. But you also have to then listen to, okay, I'm saying you did this. And the guy responds with, I clearly did not, I wasn't using it as an insult. I was saying you got 4 guys on the bench and 1 guy's a black guy. That's the guy I'm talking about. I don't know from here that he's 2 inches taller than anybody else. If I'd have said the nappy-headed guy, that would have been even worse.
That would
Right?
not have been
Right?
good. Yeah, that would not have been good.
I'm
Yeah.
saying, what's your distinguishing figure? Remember, all of these guys are wearing the exact same outfit, too.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he was wearing a tan suit. He's the guy in the tan suit.
Barry's the only one that can wear a tan suit, man.
Well, you knew why I
Come
did
on,
that.
man.
You knew why I did that. But if there were other distinguishing
I'm gonna get one.
features, but I'm in no way making excuses. I'm saying these are realities, and to not acknowledge the reality of the situation is to undermine your quote unquote wokeness. You're once again pledging loyalty to an ideology over the reality of the situation. That's what I've got to say about that. I think we've covered it. Do you have anything else on that one?
I think Io summed it up for us. He said, I think the official's reaction to being called out is what made this situation. If he had quickly just gone, my bad, didn't mean it like that, it would have diffused the situation. The official did what a lot of white people do when they're confronted by this, by digging in their heels. Yes. The official could have handled it better. I mean, he is the 4th official. Absolutely. Troy, do you think it's the word? And Troy, honestly,
there's something behind it.
That was my thing too. I'm like, okay, as Americans, are we interpreting the word correctly? Like, are we interpreting it like, well, it just means black guy? Does it mean something different?
Are we looking at it through our lens versus another lens? Like
our paradigm.
We're looking at this through the Western pursuit of a non-racial culture. Okay. It's difficult to see it and we're holding them to that particular standard. Okay.
Yep.
And this is, we go back, like you said, the Cavani situation in their culture. It's not necessarily viewed as an insult to say negrito. You're saying my friend, this is my buddy, my black buddy. That's what that was.
Sure. It's
and we're
like
saying
what we say. Yeah,
we're looking at it through our lens. Like negrito sounds like you called him. Sorry, but it sounds like you called him the N-word.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the soft A and the hard ER. I mean, that's kind of what we're running up against here.
You mean
it's like, okay,
Aaron versus Urin?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I mean, right there.
I tell you what, fuck up my name, and I'm coming for you, Aaron.
And that's a great segue. Oh my God, it's 8:20. It doesn't even seem like 8, 2, and 2, man.
How well have I structured this? And I don't even have A block, B block, and C block. This just happened.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful,
happened.
man.
I'm glad you're all here to join in on this.
Yep. Hey, Aaron. I'm going old school on this.
Do it.
I'm going old school. I am going to read/show some obscure news reports. And there's a theme to these news reports. And I try to be equal opportunity to these themes. But I just want to see your reaction to them. I want to get your commentary on them. And in order to do that, I am going to share my screen.
Do it.
All right.
I'm going to do a shot because I'm an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a drunk. Let me clarify.
There you go. There's a difference. There is a difference. And I got to share the sound and the video clip because there's a video here as well. Okay, so here we go.
And let me preface this with all YouTube content reviewers. I get it. I can't monetize the site because of what we're about to do. Do you
We
think
don't care.
anybody is trying to give us money? If you
We
do,
do
give
not
us
care.
money. Fireball, I'd be really happy to take your money, but I don't think it's happening. So I expect your
I don't even
email by
care.
Tuesday or Wednesday, YouTube. I get it. Fine.
Don't even care. Don't even care. So the first report is a Christmas one, and I want to read this to you. Enormous illuminated Christmas penis appears on front of house in Reading. Now, this is back in 2018, but I thought since it's Christmas time, it's pretty good. Here we go. It is the 3rd of December in Reading, Berkshire. A large sparkling penis has appeared on the wall of a semi-detached house on a quiet residential street.
Scroll back up.
Okay, there you go. See?
Semi-detached. It's a goddamn McMansion. Are you shitting me? In Reading, Berkshire?
In Reading, Berkshire. In Berkshire, my friend. Um, let me continue. Stephen Bailey Todd, 53, who lives nearby, said he was in complete disbelief when he spotted the shining genitalia while strolling home. It was quite a shock, to be honest, he said of the erection. When you walk home, you just don't expect it. I can't even say this next line.
Why is it necessarily erect? Maybe that dude's just got some.
When you walk home, you just you just don't expect to come face to face with an enormous penis in a wall on a wall.
That's what.
There you go. Aaron, come on, man. What's going on in Berkshire, man? Come on.
Well, it's
You've been across the pond.
funny as fuck. First off, I mean, really. First off, is that necessarily a penis? I mean, there's plausible deniability. Secondly, it's inappropriate, but people are gonna do dumb shit. I mean, I don't know. Like, first off, it's England. I mean, the English just don't give a fuck when it comes to shit. It's
No.
I don't know. That's much ado about nothing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. Okay. All right. Next one. Here we go. I'm gonna save that one for later. I want to be equal opportunity here. Fancy adding a bit of vajizzle to Christmas this year? Bizarre new trend sees people snapping up vagina themed decorations, vases, and even incense holders. Now, let me show you this. This is some craftsmanship here, okay? Um, you got your little, ornaments here, different sizes. This is just the outer labia only, one lip wonders. There you go. You've got your smaller, medium size, and you've got your big snowy, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. The big snowy. Okay. There you go. Ding dong.
Oh, and it's pierced.
Yeah, it's pierced. It's pierced. There you go. Okay. But here's the best thing: planters that look like the plant from the
Like Audrey too.
yeah, exactly. Looks like Audrey.
Little shop,
Audrey, Little
shop
Shop
of
of Horrors.
horrors,
Thank you.
little
Thank you.
shop.
You know, I'm just saying. And then look at this.
Feed
It's
me,
like
Seymour.
I
Feed
love
me.
the equal opportunity-ness. Look at this. I love this. It's solidarity. It's like vagina monologues all together all at once. Aaron, what do you think, buddy?
When I was uh, a kid and up through high school, um, we would go on vacation to Canada during the summer.
Hmm.
And Toronto and Montreal both have like great museums. And I can't remember where we were, but it was an ancient Peruvian exhibit that we went to. My dad was real big on like, okay, if we're gonna spend half the time fucking around and going to like malls and seeing stuff, then there's gonna be some like, education here too. It was like half and half. Dad was good about that shit.
Mhm.
And went to this Peruvian, exhibit, and it was I believe it's Peruvian, and they had their culture revered like sex gods. They believed that worshiping these gods brought fruitfulness to crops and things like that. So it was an exhibit that was seriously, they were like, you'd have like a foot tall little Incan guy with a gigantic penis.
Oh wow!
Ceramic, right? You'd have
like that statue from the Birdcage with Robin
yes.
Williams and yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Very, very similar.
Yep.
And it was part of the culture. And there, they believed in the the sort of animal deities. Bats had significance, cats had significance, dogs had significance. Okay. So you would also have these ceramic sculptures of a bat fucking a dog or something like that.
Ooh, that's how you get the Rona.
No kidding. Yeah. That's how you get the HIV, folks.
HIV.
But it was also, you got to look at where you are culturally. Now, do I think this is trying to revere anything, or do I think it's trying to be like kind of clever? I think it's more clever, but sure. This is just not something. I've gone a long way to say this is just, get over it. If this offends you, if this bothers you, don't buy the fucking ornament.
Exactly.
Be like, hey kids, I think this is a little bit grotesque. It's a little obtuse. It's a little too much. But you can worship the clit without having a clit ornament. That's fine. But people being upset. Look, if this bothers you, I bet you don't know where the clit is.
Dude, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm like, this is educational.
You don't suck enough dick. You don't eat enough pussy. Yeah. I'm gonna be crass and say you just ain't doing it right.
Okay. But they put a jingle bell there.
Jingle clit, lick it all the way.
Wow.
Oh, what
and
fun
there you go. Okay. So let me bring this home. I have a your mic is working now. I have a video.
It's not mac and cheese.
It's not. I don't know if I should show it.
We've reached that point of the show.
Here we go, my friend. Okay.
That dude's waterboarding his dick.
Just watch.
Oh God, no! If he's banging his dick, no, Evan.
Only Pai is no ordinary kung fu master. The 65-year-old practices a unique and excruciating-looking type of martial arts known as iron crotch kung fu. Its most famous technique involves swinging a steel plate-capped 2-meter-long log through the air to smash into a man's crotch.
When you practice iron crotch kung fu,
notice how high his voice is.
As long as you push yourself, you'll feel great afterwards.
Wang is the head of the Juntun Martial Arts Academy.
Oh, he's got someone swinging it.
Technique for about half a century. He has 2 children and insists that with the correct technique and plenty of practice, it doesn't hurt the practitioner or harm fertility.
Please don't worry about this. We've done a lot of training. Now we have over 1,400 people in our village. If practicing this damaged this part of the body permanently, then over time, no one would do it.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
All right, I got 2 things to say about this.
Please do.
The Shaolin monks train and they drag, they attach things to their testicles and they drag heavy weights, and it's a sign of virility and power and all that stuff. I don't know what these guys are, and I don't know what they're doing. I know this. Samurai learned a technique, and I think this is. I suddenly got loud in my own headphones.
But you're soft again. Oh, whoa, wow! I did not mean to say. You're not. I mean, you're not as loud. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I know that samurai have a technique, and anybody can learn this.
There it is. There you go.
It's basically male Kegel exercises, and samurai learned a technique of being able to pull their testicles when they were going into battle. They learned how to use the muscles and pull their testicles up into their pelvic cavity. So basically, they weren't exposed anymore. Oh, I've got you intrigued, don't I? I see the look on your face, and you're like, "Oh my God, that would come in handy." So I don't know if that's what they're doing here.
I teach history. I'm not sure when that would come in handy. I
Right.
don't know, but go ahead, please.
I find it hard to believe that they're actually taking straight shots to the testicles. Anybody who's watched Casino Royale, right? Yeah, I just made
the chair.
Every person watching, every male watching this show just cringed. Like, I can't remember the comedian was, but you don't even like grazing nuts almost hurts more than getting a straight shot. So I don't know what's going on here. Troy, why would you ever question?
Which I'm laughing. I am laughing at everything he said.
Okay, first, oh my God, I'm dying. Wait, you went somewhere other than Disney? Yes, we went to Disney twice a year, and then we had a summer vacation in California. I can't believe my father didn't give you a PowerPoint presentation on this at some point while he had you trapped in his office, Troy. I think it's like, how the hell do you know that? Troy, seriously, man, I just.
Oh my God.
I exist.
You are the consummate Renaissance man, my friend.
I exist in the ether. I am the Renaissance. What's the
existing in the freak. Yes.
I don't think I ever hit you in the balls, John.
Oh no.
I think I may have hit your shoulder and it went in one time. I'm not sure if I say thank you or you're welcome.
I wish I knew you guys then, man. I'd have been, oh God, I'd been cracking up. But anyway, that is all I got, man. That is all I got. But that will be I've settled on this. It is my job and my duty to set you up each and every week to talk about the weird, bizarre type stuff, my friend. And that's what we
don't shy away. We don't shy away.
No.
This is that show. This is that show. So, we're gonna after this, we're gonna run out and get some Changed the World Ben & Jerry's ice cream and enjoy it.
Yes.
Google it, folks.
Oh, guys, listen, it's been a great night. Listen, Aaron, I love the nights we have together, brother. I love this.
This has been a good one. I was looking forward to it, and
one.
It has. It's paid off. It honestly, every step of the way, I was hoping to have that through line and the segues. It worked out. Seriously, if we actually planned this show, I'm not sure it could have gone any better. And we don't. For those of you watching at home, we don't plan this shit. We threw out a few ideas, but there ain't no A block, B block, C block. So
one of the only things that I do plan though is I love planning, letting my dear friend Aaron send us home for the evening, guys. Listen, it's been a pleasure. Love you guys. Aaron, give us the final word for tonight, my friend.
The final word tonight is a little different than usual. I'm not going to go all cray. We've had a good conversation. I'll say this. It's a shame that probably one of the best football seasons IU football has put forth in its history is in the midst of the COVID, and it deserves an asterisk. I don't love the way the Big Ten has gone about what they've chosen to do. Sorry, John. What they've chosen to do, but ultimately, I understand why they've arrived at this decision. It's a business decision. Anybody who thinks about it otherwise, it is. The only question is whether or not teams that aren't named The Ohio State University would get this kind of response. I think maybe a Michigan, maybe a Penn State.
I know.
Maybe
Wisconsin
would get it because they might play for a national championship. So I understand it. I understand the business decision. I'm not mad about it because once I thought about it, like I said, if Ohio State really wanted to kind of play the game, if you will, they would say, we forfeit this weekend, and that means our record is 5-1, and because of our head-to-head with IU, we still play in the Big Ten championship. Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten, and they deserve to be playing for hopefully a national title. God help us all if Northwestern figures out a way to win that game.
Oh my God, man!
But my bigger issue is that IU is one of 2 teams to beat 3 top 25 teams this season.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama is the other, and by the way, they're ranked number 1. So
Yeah.
IU being 12th in one poll, 9th in one poll, 8th in another poll, I think they should be a little bit higher. I think they should be outside the top 4. But if you ranked them 6th or 7th, again,
6th or 7th,
8th isn't that big of a deal. I'm not going to go hard. Whoever thinks they deserve to be 12th can eat a dick.
Yeah.
But IU deserves a major bowl bid this year because they did the work, and I get it. There's an asterisk. There's all sorts of asterisks over this season, but they did in the face of they said play the teams in front of you, and they did, and they beat them. And they played. Has anybody else come as close to beating Ohio State as IU did this season? No.
And I know I said you get the final word, but before you get the final word, let me just jump in as an Ohio State fan. I 100% agree with you and John. Here's what I would have liked to see. I know it's a fantasy, but I would have liked to have seen this week. I would have liked to have seen Ohio State IU. And maybe before the Big Ten championship game, I would like to see Ohio State, Texas A&M. Here's why. I know that that's a fantasy. I know that it would never happen. But here's why I would love to see it happen as an Ohio State fan, because once again, that would prove our resume.
Yeah.
And right now, and you know, man, I am the biggest Ohio State fan. I try not to be obnoxious about shit. I enjoy football. IU has a better resume than Ohio State does. I'm just saying. They do. Because Ohio State came within just a couple of plays of not winning that IU game. They came within hairs of not winning that game. And also, some of their victories against, subpar teams, okay, they had a couple of blowouts, but a couple of them were kind of closer than what they should have been. And it's like, let's just prove the legitimacy. Let's go out there and truly just stack it up. Let's just say, let's line it up and let's play the friggin' game. Let's play the fucking game. I as an Ohio State fan, I want to see Ohio State IU again. I want to see that rematch. I want to see that Ohio State, yes, is a better team than IU. If they're not, IU's going to kick their ass. And that's okay with me. I'm like, you know what? It's 2020. It's COVID. Okay, I want to see that game.
I dig that. I'm for it. But what if they play that game? And what if IU wins on a last-second field goal?
Okay.
Now Ohio State and IU are 1-1. Who goes to the championship game? I mean, you get my point. Like,
I do. I get your point.
I'm an IU guy just because of heritage. Okay, IU football has historically not been great. So it's fantastic that last season and this season and what Tom Allen has done is amazing.
Oh man! Oh, coach of the year by far.
It's terrific. It doesn't change the fact that Ohio State's the best team in the Big Ten.
If Michael Penix isn't playing for IU,
is that true though? We beat Wisconsin.
Listen. Here's the deal. I know that there are no fans in the stadium. I get that. I totally get that. But you practice on your field. You run drills on your field. You do the things you do on your field, and then you transfer it over to wherever you're going if you're the away team. There is still, and I got to believe this, I've been I've been to an IU basketball game in Assembly Hall with that place emptied. There is still a home court advantage. There is still a feeling.
Oh, you're saying the shoe? Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm saying Assembly Hall. I'm saying now because I'm about to transfer. I'm saying I've been to Bloomington. Yeah. I've been to Bloomington. So when no matter where you go, there's still that feeling there. There's still that this is our house. And if you've ever played, you've played football, and I think you played football, right? You played both, right? If you've ever played any type of sport, I don't care what it is. If you've ever played any type of sport, you know that when you are playing on your home court, come hell or high water, if there's 1 or 10,000 people there, it is still your house. And if you're half-ass of a coach, you're going to play on that. Tom Allen has coached a team these past 2 weeks without Michael Penix, has coached a team to those wins. There is absolutely no way that these guys individually should be winning the games they are. But coach has got them playing as a team, and that is the most dangerous way. That is the most dangerous type of team you would want to play, especially in Bloomington. That's all I'm saying.
No, I agree. Totally agree with all of that. I'm just saying that unless IU turned around and beat Ohio State by 20 points, like laid a smackdown, head-to-head goes OSU. I'm not being flippant.
No.
I'm look, I think one of the reasons why, specifically in the soccer world, my opinion carries a little weight is because I don't walk around with red United glasses on. If I think United gave up a penalty, they gave up a penalty.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I don't love my team and occasionally have some bias. I'm saying if you're being as objective as you can be as a fan, I don't think IU deserves to suddenly become the number 4 team in the country because Ohio State isn't there. Okay? Because I think IU beats Northwestern too.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but I don't think that makes them the 4th best team in the country. But would anyone else have gotten this consideration other than Ohio State, maybe Michigan or Penn State, maybe even Wisconsin? But if this were Rutgers, if Rutgers was 5-0, nobody'd be like, "Oh my God, you got to make sure they're in the national championship."
Got to make sure that no.
And no. IU doesn't have that rep either. Is that right? Is that wrong? I mean, we've been talking for years. Does Boise State deserve to be playing in a national championship game when they go 18-0? I think they do, but I'm not sure they're
that field, dude. Not with that field, bro. I'm just like,
that field is still nowhere near as bad as Oregon's basketball court.
Yeah.
I'd rather play on blue AstroTurf than not know where the fucking trees are. So anyway, dude, I think we've come to it.
Get out of here, man.
This yet again. I can't ask for more. I love you. I love these conversations. I love the way it all comes together. I love that we would be doing this no matter what, but I love that we get to share this. I love that we've got these people joining in. John, Io, Troy, thank you so much. Love you guys.
Kyla from Arizona. She jumped in for a little bit tonight.
Boom. Thank you so much. John and Troy, hope to see you on a soccer field somewhere soon. Io, hope to be talking trash with you about Chelsea and Man U sometime soon.
Io, I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hey, I got mad respect. You know I do.
Yes.
But I love everybody tuning in. I love these conversations. This has been such a great opportunity. We're now 35 episodes in.
That's crazy.
Mind blowing. We're gonna hit a year. We're gonna hit a year at some point.
We're gonna do it.
Because this shit ain't going away. Because apparently Hoosiers will not do the right thing to look after themselves. So we're gonna keep talking. I hope you guys keep tuning in. I got one last dirty one for everybody.
Me too, man. Me too.
And I'm gonna say one love, and I appreciate you all. I know Evan appreciates you all.
Yep.
And we're going to keep doing what we do. Take care, everybody.
Peace.